Chad was talking to Chad Smith. And I was like, oh, there he is again. I was just like, Mr. Smith, like, I'm a big fan. Like, I'm not going to be like, yo, I'm a singer too. And one thing led to another and got his number. And he told me he was listening to my stuff and he really dug it. He's such a good guy. He was so easy to work with. And I want to do more with him.
Rock, metal, prog, and everything in between. Welcome to this episode of Talkin' Rock with Meltdown. Don't forget to follow the audio-only Talkin' Rock podcast on all podcast platforms. And now, it's time for today's conversation. Here's Meltdown.
Artie, how's things going for you, man?
Man, can't complain. How about you?
I'm doing well. Your girl just there, Ella, just before, she said rock radio. How's rock radio treating you?
I mean, I got no complaints, brother. You guys are freaking. I have felt nothing but love, and I'm incredibly thankful for it. I felt like a kid again the last couple of years. But I guess I feel like I'm doing something right, and I'm just thankful for that blessing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it's like you're one of the guys. I guess Jelly Roll's kind of in that world too, where it's like you got a foot in the country, you got a foot in the rock. Talk about that.
Man, I just kind of was just sort of doing my thing and in the country world, and really everything changed when I wrote Jack. And Jack was like, a lot of people at my label were like, man, this we can definitely, this is a whole nother level of something, and I think that song really kind of gave me the courage to really lean into the whole rock and roll world thing. But it was not intentional at the start. If you go back in my catalog or whatever, everything has always been very rock leaning. And I had a song called Boots that had a breakdown in it, and that was 3 or 4 albums ago. And so it was just a natural progression. But once I really got the blessing from you guys, I leaned fully into it and said, let's do it. Why not?
Well, the Mockingbird and the Crow, yeah, I tell people this all the time. It's one of the most fascinating records I've ever heard in my life, because it starts out country and then you get to the title track and it's country and it turns to rock. I'm blown away by it. I drop it on the turntable all the time. I mean, it was one of my favorite records of the year, as a matter of fact, that year.
I'm really proud of it, man. And I feel like, hopefully I'll be able to put out tons of records throughout my life. But I feel like that is definitely a flagship record for me, because I think if anybody were to say, like, what piece of music describes you perfectly, or if they were to ask a stranger, like, what Hardy record would be the quintessential, that's my, like, swan song, no pun intended on the bird, but that's the one that defines me the most. And so I'm really proud of that one, man. I think that that one will just live forever with me, and I love it. So I appreciate you saying that.
No, it's a fantastic record. And since we're here in Detroit, of course, I know you're a big Eminem fan, and you even have Chad Smith on the latest record to bring some Detroit muscle and to play some drums in some of the tracks, eh?
Yeah, I met him at the Super Bowl. It was super random. And I actually met him in the lobby of the hotel, and then we got to this like thing that we were at, and Chad Kroeger from Nickelback was there, who I know very well. And when we got to this thing, Chad was talking to Chad Smith, and I was like, oh, there he is again. But when I met him in the lobby, I was just like, Mr. Smith, like, I'm a big fan. Like, I'm not going to be like, yo, I'm a singer too. Yeah, like everybody does that. That's annoying. So I just left it at that. So then when I was reintroduced to him by Chad Kroeger, he was like, didn't we just meet or whatever? And I was like, yeah. And anyway, we hit it off, and one thing led to another and got his number, and he told me he was listening to my stuff and he really dug it. And I sent him Good Girl Phase like a month later and just asked him if he'd play on it. And he said, yeah.
Yeah. I think Chad's played on like everyone's stuff.
He's a beast, man. He's such a good guy. He's so easy to work with, and I want to do more with him.
Yeah, he's great. Then how do you hook up with Fred Durst? Have you known him for a while?
No, that was through my record label. I had cut the chorus for Soul for Sale, and then the GM at my label, Joey, my producer, was like, because I knew I wanted a feature for the verses, and Joey was like, man, you should just shoot a moonshot here and see if Greg could get this in Fred Durst's hands. And dude, like 2 weeks later, I got a text from Greg, and he said, you're going to get a text from Fred Durst or a call today. And I was in Italy, and I was freaking out. And sure enough, he hit me up and was like, "Man, I love the song. Let's do it." And that was an inside job. That was through my record label, but it worked. And since then, Fred and I have like hung out, and he's a really cool guy. And we're now friends. But that one was definitely an inside job.
Now the Live from Red Rocks comes out on February 7th, and I got the whole list of songs right here, 20 songs. And I mean, this is pretty much your career on a live album, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much front to back. I think there's a song on that. There's a song or two on that set list from every piece of work, I guess you would say, that I've done. Yeah, I'm really excited about it, man. That is pretty much our whole set list, front to back, and it's just a good representation. I've listened to it all the way through, and it really is a great representation of what the live show is, man. It captures the energy. The crazy thing about performing is like I don't get to hear it. You know what I mean? Like I don't ever go back and listen, and like I never know what it sounds like other than just what's in my mix at the moment. I don't, and I, we have ears in now. We're running like in ears. So I really don't even hear the crowd that much or anything. So it was really like fun to listen to. And I remember like listening to it with my wife, and do they really sing these parts? Like, like, and she was like, I swear, like that's real. And it was just, it was really fulfilling for me because I don't, get the same experience. So it was even cool for me to just experience listening to it.
Yeah, we were here in we're here in Detroit, obviously, and I remember the Three Doors Down guys were here with Creed, and at one point, you're a football guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so at one point, the fans during a down part of their set started chanting Jared Goff, like the quarterback. Anyway,
Yeah.
so then I went and saw the guys afterwards. They're my buds, and Chris Henderson. He's like, I couldn't hear what they were saying because he had his in ears, and you can't really tell sometimes
Oh
what
yeah,
they're saying out there in the crowd.
man. Gosh, man, I wish you guys would have won that game the other day. But we don't have to talk about that. I feel like America was rooting for Detroit, but maybe next year.
I think America might be rooting for Buffalo and maybe even Washington right now. We'll see what
I
happens.
dude, if you're gonna pull for somebody, it's like Washington's the biggest underdog for sure, and they got a good team. We'll see.
Boy, that quarterback was unreal against Detroit.
He's a stud. He's good.
No doubt. Well, getting back to this here, live from the Red Rocks. That's a place I want to go to check off my bucket list. Did you? This show was recorded in October. Did you guys kind of aim for that show to record a live show, or did it just sound good, or how'd that work?
No, we definitely. I don't really remember. No, yeah, we did. Maybe a couple months before we decided that was going to be the venue, and I know it's a little predictable, but it's Red Rocks, man, and it's just a whole different. The hype is completely real. The fans, everything about it is elevated a little bit more. No pun intended, because it's literally elevated, but more than other places. Not that other places aren't amazing, but it was very intentional, and it's just such a special place. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that and capture that and give it out to the world?
Yeah, I remember talking to Bert Kreischer one time, and he played there, and he said the cops gave him two choices when he left the venue. He says, "We could take you out as soon as you're done and escort you out, or you can stay here and like smoke a joint on the stage." So he said he stayed.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when everybody was gone. Yeah. So what do you got coming up this year? I know you got your touring starting in April.
I have a couple shows in April, and I will just say we are making a tour announcement within the month. So
Okay.
and we'll be all over the place. So we're definitely touring this summer. I got new music coming. I can't really talk about that either, but I've got some music coming hopefully this spring, and more music coming in the summer. And I got a baby coming in a month. So got a lot going on this year.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. I was the one, I think I interviewed you on the phone last time, but I was the one that Kid Rock sent me the picture of you and the jeweler from Taiwan or wherever you were, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, there was a guy, he thought I was Kid Rock, or he said, but that happens all the time. People are like, "You look like Kid Rock." But this random guy in a random jewelry store in Thailand was like, "You look like my idol." And I was like, "Who?" He was like, "Kid Rock." And I was like, "Bro, I usually don't do this, but I'm gonna text him right now." And anyway, it was a really cool thing. It was so random, but very cool.
Yeah, he sent me that picture. I remember last time we talked, and I think you were driving around or something, but yeah, it's a great story, man.
Yeah, man. Love Bob. Bob's a good one.
So, are you writing anything for anybody else right now, or just kind of doing your own thing?
No, always, man. I've got a handful of songs that will be on the next Morgan Wallen record. Yeah, I mean, I've always, dude. There's this is a part of my songwriter brain that no matter what, I can't turn that off, and I'm always sending songs to people. Hey, man, check this out. See if you dig this, because I write 200 songs a year, and maybe more like 150, but and I want them all to try to find a place. I get a lot of fulfillment out of writing songs for other people. So yeah, it happens a lot.
I was gonna say because you've kind of created this niche that maybe a Morgan Wallen or like whoever can't really compete in. So when you're writing some of these songs here, are you thinking of a particular person in mind?
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes it's funny. Like a lot of artists won't cut a song if they think it sounds too much like them. So sometimes just write a good song and send it around, and that works just as good as trying to corner yourself into making the song sound like somebody. It's a little bit of everything though. Sometimes it works perfectly, and sometimes it doesn't. It's just you never know.
Yeah. Was there anybody else that you wanted to collab with on the last record that you couldn't get to, or maybe have coming up in the future?
Man, I don't know. I would love to work with like Mike Shinoda or any of those new metal guys, man. Jonathan Davis, Chino. I don't know any of that era of music. I would love to get to know all those guys, man. And you never know. We'll see in the future, but any of that new metal or just any of that active rock stuff from the early 2000s is that's my jam. So we'll see.
How many of those guys have you had a chance to meet?
I know Fred. I know Chad. I know Brad from Three Doors Down. I know the Creed guys. I mean, there's definitely a few of the Nickelback guys, but nobody in the Linkin Park camp yet. And again, nobody in Korn. Man, you know what? I would love to work with Trent Reznor. He is like my idol. Trent Reznor is the freaking man to me. I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, and I love his work and the way that he produces. And I would love to do something with him one day.
Yeah, he's so creative. Have you had a chance to check out the latest Linkin Park record?
No, I haven't yet. I wanted to. I was going to listen to it on my drive back from Mississippi the other day, and just didn't get around to it. But I need to.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, dude. I heard Jim Bob. I just cranked it up in the studio downstairs, and it sounds awesome.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I'm excited for the live version. I feel like it's gonna really elevate that song even more.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. Good luck with everything here in 2025. Maybe when you get some new music and you figure out this tour that you can't talk about or anything else, maybe you can come back and tell us all about it.
That sounds like a plan, brother.
Next time you're at the Southern White House, have a drink for me, okay?
I will. I'll have one for you. That's awesome.